Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Karen Nelson, aka the Designer in Jeans. Usually we do blind design challenges and a lot of fun design oriented stuff on this channel, but I just got the chance of a lifetime and I cannot not make a video about it. So let's talk about Paris. There are the normal things we all think about when going to Paris. We think about the Eiffel Tower. We think about the Louvre. We think about visiting all the beautiful churches. These things were fantastic. I did enjoy these, but I was really surprised as to what I really thought was my favorite. So I'm about to show you how to do Paris a different way. Okay, first thing, I have a list down here, but the first thing that I think you should do, you've got to go on the big bus. The big bus tour, I think it's the big red bus tour. That was phenomenal. It took us by all of the stuff. We were on the double deckers, we were on the top half, and we really enjoyed seeing all that Paris had to offer from the bus. You could get on, get off, catch a different one. It was really, I think, fantastic to kind of orient you to Paris and to start to see all the beauty without having to fight that traffic. The traffic around the Arc de Triomphe is literal moving art. It's insane. There are cars going around this Arc de Triomphe with buses, there's cabs, there's people that just live there, their cars, there's bicycles, and there's even the Vespas and motorcycles. And they are all, there is no rhyme or reason. I do not know the way of the laws there for traffic, but it was moving art. It was insane. Less honking than in New York. And they were, I mean, at times there was cars perpendicular to other cars and they would just make it work. It was absolutely insane. So I do think you should at least see that, but I'm not sure I would get the rental car. Unless you're very daring, I wouldn't do the rental car. But that was fantastic. But we took this bus tour and we went to the Eiffel Tower. We saw that twice. It is stunning, amazing. We actually did it for free. We went through the security and we went under the Eiffel Tower, which is incredible how massive this thing is. I look so small under there. It was unbelievable. We went to the Louvre, but we didn't go inside. We went to Notre Dame. We did walk through that. And we also walked through the Grand Opry there, the Phantom of the Opera is based on. We went there. That place is amazing and stunning. They have so many things there that are just unbelievably jaw-dropping. I'll put in some photos that were just incredible. But what I had the most fun doing was walking around. So we made a point to walk as much as we could. We were there during the heat wave, but we're here in Florida, and before that we were in Texas, so we're pretty used to heat. But our AC is a totally different AC than what they have. But thank goodness our hotel had amazing AC. We would walk and I couldn't get past the doors. The doors to these apartment buildings and places were so beautiful. They were painted rich colors. They had the big hardware on them. I'm gonna insert some pictures, but this was throughout. They were stunning. I just walked around in like complete awe of what I was seeing. I really believe walking around and just taking in these sights was like the number one thing for me. The Eiffel Tower was stunning, but actually seeing these doors and this architecture, it was everywhere. It was so beautiful. All the details that they put into everything, it just makes it. Here, there are some of these buildings here, but usually it's just like a economic thing where we just build a building or a house really fast. These places are all works of art. Everybody would put their plants outside. There was so much of that that was beautiful. That was honestly the part that I enjoyed the most, was walking through the streets on their pretty sidewalks and just soaking in what these buildings had to offer. It was absolutely incredible. I highly recommend you slow down, walk if you can, if you're not in this middle of this heat wave, and enjoy the architecture. Keep your head on a swivel. Just look and really take the time to appreciate what these buildings and these beautiful doors, they were so gorgeous. I recommend that you do this and you just soak it all in. The second thing we did that was different, my daughter and I are gluten-free. So she's actually celiac. So we have to be extremely careful on our trips. And they actually had a ton of gluten-free food. They had Italian restaurants that were incredible. They had a lot of it noted on their menus. They were incredibly kind to us, and it was very easy to navigate being celiac and gluten-free. So highly, highly recommend that. But something we did outside of the norm of just going to the cafes was we actually went to all the fruit stands. So there's fruit stands on the side of the road, or they have like stores that they have the fruit stands in them. I can't remember the name of the place we went, but it was incredible. It had cheeses and it had tons of fruit, and it had a couple other little things. It was almost like a flea market or like a fish market. Of course, that stuff wasn't there, but it was the fruits and the cheeses. So awesome. We can barely speak any French, but we were able to navigate, and they helped us pick out this incredible cheese and all these incredible, beautiful fruits that tasted unbelievable. And we took those fruits and that cheese and we went to a park and we sat on a bench, like a neighborhood park, sat on a bench amongst the flowers and the people doing their thing. And we shared, my husband, my daughter, and I, we shared a picnic together, just sitting on this bench. It was one of the best things we did there. I would go back and do that any day of the year. It was incredible. And it was so basic. It was like living there. And I really, really enjoyed just those little moments of just soaking in what was actually going on, without all the tourists and everything else. We were just on a bench in a neighborhood and just enjoying our time. So I highly recommend that you do that. Take some time to slow down and just take it in and really, really enjoy a picnic. The last thing that we did that I highly recommend was our hotel. We stayed at Le Hotel Magellan, I think is the name of it. It's in the 17th arrondissement, I think is how you say that. I'm probably slaughtering this. I tried so hard, but I was not doing that great. At one point, I asked a French woman if she could speak French instead of asking her if she could speak English. So it was pretty bad. My French teacher years ago was correct. This is something I need to study harder on. But I love the language. I love the people. Everyone there was so nice to us, very accommodating. You know, a bonjour, a merci, all that really, really helps. And we learned how to ask them. I did it incorrectly once, but we parlez-vous français, parlez-vous anglais, all that stuff, getting them to understand we weren't just trying to like walk over their culture. It was really cool. And we were met with amazing kindness from everybody that we met there. So the Magellan, we had a little area that in between going out and seeing the sights, we'd come back and take like a nap because it was so hot. And then we would, I actually went down one day and sat in their like courtyard or their little garden they had at the hotel. I'll insert pictures. It was so beautiful. And I was sitting out there alone, a nice breeze going. I put on some French music in my headphones and I was journaling and just soaking it up. I enjoyed this moment so much. And it was just sitting in their little garden at a table and just really taking in what was French to me. Like the view I had was of the hotel, and it had like the fire escapes and stuff, which were all pretty, and the beautiful windows and the shutters. And I was just out there soaking it all in. I highly, highly recommend that you do take this time to really embrace what is French. Not everything is the landmarks. It's so cool just to slow down and try to get a glimpse as to what one of their days looks like. Obviously, I was not working. I was not doing anything that had to make me a local, but it was so fun just to take a glimpse of what life if you actually were there. So these are the things that I did that I highly recommend you do. We also went to Jardin de Luxembourg. That was incredible. It's the park with the green chairs. So beautiful. I'll put in some photos of that too. It was just so much beauty in these parks. And we're sitting in those chairs watching people who live there. Like, some people were sunbathing, some kids were playing soccer or football, some were reading, some were just eating, having a picnic. It was so cool to watch and to see. And we were just in part of it. And it was just a really cool afternoon. So as much as I love landmarks, as much as I loved everything I'd always dreamed about, that Eiffel Tower, I have a beautiful rendering of it here at the house. And I have stared at that for so many years, wanting to go there. And we went and I saw it, and it is unbelievably amazing. But the best time I had was soaking up the actual moments, starting to learn to eat the way they do, where they sit for long periods of time and they enjoy the food and they enjoy the company versus just rushing through like we do here. There are some things that the French do that I hope to incorporate. I really have, like, in my backyard, we just got a fence up before we left, and we're renting, but they installed a fence for us. And I really want to create or try to recreate that feeling that I had there in that garden, sitting at the hotel. I want to, get a little table and get some pretty plants to put around. It's going to take me some time to build that up, but it's a goal that I have, and I will show you guys as I get to it. But there's some stuff that I learned there that I hope to never forget. I hope to incorporate little by little into my life. I think it's unbelievable and exciting. So if you get a chance to go over to Europe, I really hope you embrace that. And if you don't, watch some videos and create some of that here. Create some of that peace, create some of that harmony in your house, your courtyards. Just surround yourself with those beautiful things. Paint your door. If you're not in a HOA or you're not renting, paint your door. Look at the hardware. This stuff is just so beautiful. It makes such a difference. And as you walk down the streets, it's such a beautiful thing. So I'm obsessed. It was fun. I highly recommend it to everyone to try at least once in their life. But if not, just take some of these things, the florals, the colors. They have a lot more color there on their buildings and doors, really. The buildings are pretty. I think there's spots there. I didn't see anywhere it was the houses that were different colors. I know that's an area over there. Most of the buildings were just, normal colors, but they just had so many pieces of what I'm going to call flair. They had all the little details. It is romantic. The city is absolutely romantic. And it's people taking the time to surround themselves with beauty. And that is what my channel is all about, is trying to get you to surround yourself with beauty, the things that make you happy. So I hope you get a chance to go. If not, Google all of this, start looking it up, and start incorporating it in your life. All right, I'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.